So to start things off for you guys, the Nexus 5 is equipped with a beautiful 5-inch IPS display with a resolution of 1920 by 1080. It has a 2.3 GHz quad-core Snapdragon 800 chip inside, 2 GB of RAM, and either 16 GB or 32 GB of internal storage. Unfortunately, there's no microSD support, so you're stuck with whatever storage you choose. The Nexus 5 also has the Adreno 330 GPU, which is great for gaming, a 2300 mAh battery, an 8 megapixel camera in the back with optical image stabilization, and it's running stock Android 4.4 KitKat. It's available in 3 different colors, white, black, and red, and starts at $350 for the 16 GB version or for $400 for the 32 GB. For a phone that's almost a year old, the Nexus 5 is still one of the most popular Android smartphones out in the market due to its hardware, software, and pricing. And since it's a Nexus device, you'll get the latest Android updates the moment they become available, which is probably one of the reasons you want to get a Nexus 5 in the first place. The OnePlus One, on the other hand, sports a gorgeous 5.5-inch IPS display with a resolution of 1920 by 1080. It's equipped with a powerful 2.5 GHz quad-core Snapdragon 801 processor, 3 GB of RAM, 16 GB or 64 GB of internal storage. Yet again, there's no microSD slot, so you're stuck with whatever version you get. It also sports the same Adreno 330 GPU found on the Nexus 5 and a huge 3100 mAh battery that'll last you pretty much the entire day. And on the back, we have a 13 megapixel camera with dual LED flash that's capable of recording 4K video, and it's running CyanogenMod 11S, which is based on stock Android 4.4 KitKat. It's available in 2 colors as of now, though OnePlus plans on offering different rear shells that people can buy, including different woods, denim, and Kevlar. The 16 GB version in Silk White starts at just $300, while the 64 GB in Sandstone Black is just $50 more at $350. The OnePlus One, which we reviewed a week or so ago, in my opinion, is the best bang for your buck. That is, if you can buy one. It has similar specs to some of the top-tier Android devices out on the market right now, like the LG G3 and the Galaxy S5, but for about $300 to $400 less without a contract. The only problem is, OnePlus is relying on an invite-only system, which is making it difficult for people to buy the device, while the Nexus 5 is readily available for everyone to buy via the Google Play Store. When it comes to design, both the OnePlus One and the Nexus 5 sport plastic builds. By no means do they feel cheap. Both devices still feel premium without the premium price tag, but nonetheless, they both feel great in the hand. The Nexus 5 comes in 3 different colors, black, white, and red, and all 3 have different feel to them. Though I really like the matte finish that the black and red variant offers, rather than the glossy feel of the white. I do prefer the form factor of the Nexus 5 over the OnePlus One since it's a bit more compact and easier to hold, but overall build quality, I prefer the One's more premium look with its chrome bezels and seamless slightly curved design. The screen size, the OnePlus One has a full half-inch larger display than the Nexus 5. It doesn't sound like a big difference, but it's very noticeable in person. It's roughly the difference between the Galaxy S5 and the Note 3, and it makes watching movies and playing games on the OnePlus One a bit better. They're both 1080p LCD displays, and color accuracy seems to be the same in my opinion. With the OnePlus One, you can tweak some of the colors, contrast, and saturation within the settings app to your liking, so there's more flexibility there, but we think both devices have similar displays. And really, it's just a matter of what size you prefer. Even though we prefer the Nexus 5's more compact form factor, we do like the extra screen real estate that the OnePlus One offers. In an ideal world, the 5.5-inch OnePlus One would be as compact as a G3, but because of the device's capacitive buttons, you have larger bezels on top and the bottom. When it comes to performance, the OnePlus One's hardware is roughly a half generation more advanced than the Nexus 5. It uses a Snapdragon 801 chip, which is basically a supercharged version of the Snapdragon 800 used in the Nexus 5. It offers a bit more power, but nothing you'd really notice in real-world use. The OnePlus One also has 3 GB of RAM built in, while the Nexus 5 only has 2 GB, and this makes the One, in theory at least, more powerful than the Galaxy S5, the HTC One M8, and the Xperia Z2. Let's take a quick break and thank our friends at GoDaddy. It's go time, and GoDaddy's here to help you kick butt online. Start your website today with $1.99.com and visit GoDaddy.com and enter the promo code 199TECHNO to get your .com for just $1.99. Some limitations apply. See website for details. Now, the camera is one of the most important pieces of hardware consumers look for in a smartphone. Now, the Nexus 5's camera isn't all that bad too, especially after all the updates that Google pushed out months after it was released. It has an 8 megapixel camera with a sensor size of 7.9mm and an f2.4 aperture. Though the Nexus 5 does, however, include optical image stabilization while the OnePlus One doesn't. That means you'll see less blurry photos and videos when it comes to shooting. The OnePlus One, on the other hand, sports a 13 megapixel shooter, an f2.0 aperture, and a slightly bigger sensor coming in at 8.3mm. It doesn't include optical image stabilization, though it does take advantage of software stabilization, which is usually good enough for the average Joe. Both camera apps on the Nexus 5 and the One are pretty similar. They're both very simplistic and offer their own unique set of options to take experience up a notch. On paper, the OnePlus One is definitely the more impressive camera and should be able to produce better photos, and I think it does. Photos seem sharper, low light is good, and colors are more accurate compared to the Nexus 5. And I can say the same for the Nexus 5 too, but the colors are a bit washed out for my taste. The Nexus 5's camera has always been so-so, although it's been improved significantly thanks to the software updates that Google pushed out. Still, it's not quite as nice as the 13 megapixel sensor that's available on the OnePlus One. And when it comes to video, the OnePlus One can film in 4K Ultra HD and 720p slow motion video, while the Nexus 5 can only film in 1080p, so there's definitely more to like on the OnePlus One's camera. Now, one of the most interesting differences between these two phones is software. When you first look at the OnePlus One and the Nexus 5 software, it looks nearly identical. But while the Nexus 5 uses a stock version of Android, the OnePlus One software is merely based on Android. CyanogenMod is a community-based open source version of of Android that gives you loads of control over settings and other features that stock Android doesn't offer. It's basically for hardcore geeks and those who love to tinker with their device. CyanogenMod offers a ton of great features too, especially with the OnePlus One, which is running a special version of CyanogenMod 11s. It'll give your device features such as double tap to wake the screen, themes, performance tweaks, and the one we really love was the ability to turn on or off the software keys on the OnePlus One, which gives you a similar look to the Nexus 5 software buttons. Both can be tweaked the way you want them to, though we'd have to give the edge to CyanogenMod here. So to wrap things up for you guys, I'm definitely going to have to go with the OnePlus One on this one. It's got the better build quality, better camera, and a cheaper price tag. And the Nexus 5 is great too, but the Nexus 6 could just be right around the corner. And that's it for this video, guys. If you guys have any questions or any suggestions, let us know in the comments down below. I'm Mark Linsanga from Techno Buffalo. I'll see you guys in the next video. Hey, thanks for watching this video, and if you guys would like to see more, please hit that subscribe button down there.